Everyone, today we're going to look at a couple examples of word problems that require you to convert metric units. And just like with any other word problem, I always suggest reading through once just to get the gist of what's going on, and then read the story problem again, going line by line and looking for math information. That strategy is especially helpful when you're doing converting questions because it can help you catch when your units change. So let's apply that to a couple problems. The first example reads, using a map, Alex estimates the distance between his house and his grandparents' house to be about 15,000 meters. About how many kilometers away from his grandparents' house does Alex live? So I'm getting this picture of a boy, he's got a map in his hand, and he's trying to figure out how to measure the distance between his house and his grandparents' house. So the first sentence in that already gives us some math information. It says, using a map, Alex estimates the distance between his house and his grandparents' house to be about 15,000 meters. So I'm picturing a map with the two houses on it, and I know that that's 15,000 meters of distance. The question sentence says, about how many kilometers away from his grandparents' house does Alex live? And I know there's math information in here, even though there are no numbers, because my unit has changed. In the first sentence, the distance was measured in meters, but in the second sentence, the distance is measured in kilometers. Since I recognize both of those words as metric units of measurement, I can use the metric prefixes to help me solve. And remember, I know the order of these because I remember those silly sentences. Kittens hate dogs but do chase mice, or King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. That helps me remember the order that my metric prefixes go in. So if I'm starting with 15,000 meters, I know I'm starting at the base unit because meter is the base unit for length. And if I'm moving 2 kilometers, I need to shift 3 spaces to the left until I land on the metric prefix K that stands for kilo. So I'll do the same thing with the decimal point in my number. On the number 15,000, and on any whole number, there is a decimal point on the end. So I can shift that decimal point 3 spaces to the left to show moving from meters to kilometers. That means that 15,000 meters is the same as 15 kilometers. So Alex lives about 15 kilometers away from his grandparents. Let's take a look at another example. In this word problem, it reads, Jamie made a bracelet 1 8/10 decimeters long. How many millimeters long is Jamie's bracelet? So I'm picturing a girl with her craft kit in front of her. I can very easily see that. The first sentence tells me Jamie made a bracelet 1 8/10 decimeters long. So I'm picturing that bracelet, and then I know that 1 8/10 decimeters is the prefix dm and not da, because I know deci stands for 10. So that's the prefix with just the single letter D. The second sentence asks, how many millimeters long is Jamie's bracelet? This sentence helps me realize we're converting again, because in the first sentence, my units are measured in decimeters, and in the second sentence, they're measured in millimeters. So I can use those metric prefixes to help me again. This time, I'm starting at deci, which is the D to the right of the base unit, and I'm moving to milli, which is the M all the way at the end on the right. So I'll be shifting 2 spaces to the right. In this number, I already have a decimal point, so that decimal point in 1 8/10 will also shift 2 spaces to the right, which means now I'm left with an open space that I'll need to use a placeholder 0 in. In other words, 1 8/10 decimeters is the same as 180 millimeters. Let's take a look at one more type of metric word problem that you might see. This example says, Fred bought 4 liters of liquid laundry detergent, 3,250 milliliters of fabric softener, and 2 5/10 liters of bleach. He said he bought more fabric softener than anything else. Is this true? Why or why not? Okay, so this one I can totally relate to. I'm picturing a guy in the aisles of Target putting all of the laundry detergent and the fabric softener and the bleach in the cart. So let's go line by line to get the math information. The first part of the first sentence said Fred bought 4 liters of liquid laundry detergent. So I've got a bottle of Tide laundry soap, and I know that that's 4 liters. Then the middle of that sentence says he also bought 3,250 milliliters of fabric softener. So I'm picturing a bottle of Downy, and I know that that's 3,250 milliliters. And finally, the end of that first sentence tells us that he bought 2 5/10 liters of bleach. So I'm picturing a bleach bottle, which is 2 5/10 liters. The next sentence reads, he said he bought more fabric softener than anything else. So now we have Fred, and he's saying that 3,250 milliliters is more than the others, because if the fabric softener has the most, that means it would be more than anything else. So I grouped these last 2 question sentences together. Is this true? Why or why not? So this is really a comparison question in hiding. And I know that we need to do some converting, because if you notice, 2 of my measurements are in liters. Both the laundry detergent and the bleach are measured in liters, but the fabric softener is measured in milliliters. So when I'm comparing these 3 amounts, I can't compare them all equally. I'm going to have to do some kind of converting. First, since I know that the laundry detergent and the bleach are both measured in liters, I can compare those 2. And I know that 4 is greater than 2 5/10, so that means he definitely didn't buy more Clorox than anything else. Now I can compare the laundry detergent and the fabric softener by using those metric prefixes. I know that milli is the single letter M all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and liters is the base unit of capacity for the metric system. So that means I'll need to move from that letter M 3 spaces to the left in order to turn it into liters. So that means I'll take my 3,250, my decimal point is on the end because it's a whole number, and I'll shift the decimal point 3 spaces to the left. That tells me that 3,250 milliliters is exactly the same as 3 25/100 liters. Well, that gives me a little bit more information. I'm getting closer, but I'm not quite there yet. Now I need to do the last step, which is to compare 3 25/100 liters to 4 liters, which is what the laundry soap was. Since 3 25/100 liters is less than 4 liters, I can say no, Fred was incorrect. He actually bought more laundry soap than anything else. So sometimes metric word problems will be nice and straightforward, like our first 2 examples. Other times, they'll give you a little bit more of a challenge like this one, and you'll need to do a couple steps to figure them out. But no matter what kind of metric word problem you see, you can use that silly sentence, kittens hate dogs but do chase mice, or King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk, to help you solve. Thanks for watching.